Welcome everyone, this is Kerjims channel. Now we are back to our new episodes of two Untitled Champions and Comparison, featured by League of Legends versus the Mobile Legend Bang Bang. But before that, please like and subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the bell button so you will be notified to our new next episode video. Let's do this!
Ziggs is a ranged mage champion, adept at long-range bombardments, area of effect damage, and battlefield control. Ziggs' passive is Short Fuse. Every few seconds, his next basic attack will deal bonus damage. Short Fuse comes up more quickly every time Ziggs uses one of his abilities. Bouncing Bomb throws out a bomb that explodes if it lands on an enemy, damaging all surrounding enemies. However, if the bomb doesn't land on an enemy, it bounces instead, exploding when it does land on an enemy or on its third bounce. Note that the distance you throw Bouncing Bomb determines its speed as it bounces. As Ziggs' main damage source, take Bouncing Bomb at level 1 and max it by level 9. Satchel Charge throws an explosive charge on the ground that explodes after a short delay or when Ziggs reactivates the ability. When Satchel Charge explodes, it damages and knocks back all nearby enemies. Ziggs can use Satchel Charge to blast himself away without taking damage. Primarily a utility spell, take a 1-point Satchel Charge by level 4 and max it last. Explosive Minefield scatters a number of mines in an area, each exploding on any enemy who walks over one. Enemies hit by a mine are damaged and slowed for a short time. Enemies who trigger multiple mines take reduced damage from mines beyond the first. As a strong damage and area control spell, take Explosive Minefield early and max it by level 13. Ziggs' ultimate is Mega Inferno Bomb, which blasts an area on the map, dealing tons of damage to all enemies caught in the area. Mega Inferno Bomb has a massive range and displays a warning to its enemies right before it lands. As with all ultimates, take Mega Inferno Bomb at levels 6, 11, and 16. When laning, try to combo Bouncing Bomb with Short Fuse to harass your opponent. Here when Gragas comes in, I can take a good chunk of his health with a quick combo, giving me control over the lane. Once you learn Explosive Minefield, you can do even more. I throw damage at Gragas until he gets low. I drop Explosive Minefield behind him, giving him no way to escape, and leaving me first blood. With enough ability power, you can take down individual champions from full health. While Gragas stops short of Explosive Minefield, Bouncing Bomb and Short Fuse deal a significant amount of damage. As Gragas runs, Satchel Charge bounces him back into me. I lead in with Mega Inferno Bomb, making sure he can't outrun it. As he jukes back, I land Short Fuse. If he had kept running, Bouncing Bomb would pick up the kill. As a mage, you'll want extra mana through the Ancient Golem buff. The easiest way to do this is to hop over the wall with Satchel Charge, then immediately hit Short Fuse and Bouncing Bomb. Drop Explosive Minefield only after the small monsters are dead. Lead the Golem into the mines and finish it off with Bouncing Bomb if needed. Used correctly, Satchel Charge is an excellent escape tool. Here I get jumped by Gangplank and Gragas. I know I need to escape down toward my turret, so I place the Satchel Charge in front of Gragas, flash on top of it, and blow myself to safety. Gragas just barely gets in range for Explosive Cask, but Shen saves me with Stand United. Use Mega Inferno Bomb to help your teammates, but hold on to it until your enemies are crowd controlled. I see Shen move in on Malphite. As soon as he lands Shadow Dash, I toss Mega Inferno Bomb. It deals so much damage that even as Malphite attempts to run, Shen picks up the kill with Vorpal Blade. Teamfights for Ziggs are all about tactics. Noticing two nearby enemies, I open up for burst damage with Mega Inferno Bomb, Bouncing Bomb, and Short Fuse. As a result, we take down Malphite, and Gangplank runs away. Once they regroup, I choke off their main entrance with Explosive Minefield and run back once I see Gragas cross the wall. I open up on Gangplank and keep trying to run in between casts, finally escaping over the wall with Satchel Charge. Thanks to Ziggs' tricks, I just barely make it out to safety with 2 kills for my team along the way. On Dominion, make use of Ziggs' long range. Assaulting the windmill at the very beginning, stay in the back and lob your abilities at the enemy team. Constantly interrupt their captures and attempt to take the point for yourself. Anytime multiple enemies are grouped together, toss out a few more abilities. After taking control of the point, look for weak enemy champions to see if you can pick up any kills. I try to chase down Karthus, finally killing him with Flash, Ignite, and a long-range Bouncing Bomb. Meanwhile, we've worn down Lux enough for Ezreal to pick up a second kill. Ziggs is also exceptional at sieging points for the same reason. Attacking the windmill once more, I place Explosive Minefield on the center of the point, severely damaging Karthus and limiting his mobility. I loop around the point, hitting Short Fuse and Bouncing Bomb to pick up the kill, allowing us to take the capture once his passive ends. For runes, I suggest Magic Penetration Marks, Ability Power per level Seals, Ability Power per level Glyphs, and Flat Ability Power Quintessences. This build is aimed purely at dealing extra damage with all of Ziggs' abilities. For Masteries, try 2109, taking all the ability power and magic damage increasing Masteries in offense, plus Magic Penetration and increased neutral buff duration and utility. For Summoner spells, Ignite and Flash will help deal even more damage and secure kills or escape from scary situations. In Classic, consider opening with a Doran's Ring, and maybe add a few more to cover early mana regeneration needs. Early Sorcerer's Shoes and Rabbidan's Death Cap give damage output. For other valuable items in your build, consider Ryle's Crystal Scepter, Void Staff, Will of the Ancients, and Zhonya's Hourglass. In Dominion, your build should be similar. Open with Prospector's Ring, Boots of Speed, and 2 health potions. Sorcerer's Shoes and Rabbidan's Death Cap are still great damage items. You'll want some cooldown reduction, so add in Morello's Evil Tome before investigating Void Staff, Ryle's Crystal Scepter, and Will of the Ancients.
With a similar amount of time, the only thing that you can do to kind of change up these different bounces is if you throw it into terrain, it is not always going to be bouncing 3 times if there is no room for it to bounce, and then it bounces further with each hop depending on how far away you throw it from yourself. So if you throw it really close to yourself, it's not going to have too much bounce to it, but it might be good for covering a certain area or choke point. And then the farther away you throw, the more just sheer terrain that it can cover. With Summoner's Rift, something I want to cover, there is no hitbox that goes over. For example, if there is something like a tree and going over, she can be hit by every single thing on the ground. So when you are looking to throw Ziggs, there's no way for it to bounce over the enemy unless you throw it over for the first bounce. So what this means is that if it's ever in the path of a champion and it already has bounced, it will do damage to a champion that is in its trajectory. The last thing you want to do is throw it over and have it start its bounces before the enemy. So always make sure to kind of shorthand it a little bit so the enemy, you don't accidentally throw over the enemy. And finally, the last tip that I'm going to give you guys with this is to extend the range with your Sassel Charge and getting a longer range. You'll have that experience of playing with Ziggs, and then all of a sudden someone just gets away with just a little bit of a sliver of health in your lap, but you wouldn't have been able to do it. And sometimes just extending your, however, this is one of your really big defensive cooldowns, so be very careful when using your Sassel Charge, as it is a rather long cooldown at the lower levels, and it is kind of your get out of jail free card in lane. So just make sure that you are not under a huge amount of threat. There isn't like a Malzahar right here around the corner ready to suppress you after using. Be able to create quite a bit of distance, so this is an extremely effective tool for when the enemy is looking to close on you. Now, it is really important to understand that you are able to knock yourself over walls with a great way for Ziggs to scale with the terrain and just pop around the map in a way that a lot of other people aren't going to be able to follow you, because not everyone has a dash type mechanic, as this is kind of like a pseudo dash for Ziggs. Getting really good at understanding where you need to be positioned to have over the wall is going to be pretty important, especially with the recent changes on the unit changes. With the knockback of going to be extremely important with your with using Ziggs. Also, a thing that people with the knockup and throwing that is going to limit their time that they're going to be able to have to run away, and making sure that they aren't either flashing or dashing out. This can be, E mines can fizzle, and this happens when they are inside of the wall. As you can see here, it should be displaying some mines. If they were able to be spawned inside of the wall, they would have stuck around there. So making sure that you're not trying to throw out E mines maybe to stop a cane and try and do damage to them when they're on the wall, this is not going to work. So try and keep this in mind, and do not fizzle out any of your mines. When you are in choke points, you want to cover as much of the terrain as possible, so making sure that every single mine is there and you're not overstacking it to one side and making more mines on one side, as it is a great circle. This is going to be extremely important to understand that mines fizzle out when they are inside of the walls, the mines. So champions with dashes like Tristana or Akali or Lucian, if they're looking to dash over and use those dashes and use that mobility, they are going to take a crap ton of damage. If you didn't know that the triggering of mines, they take more damage the more mines that they proc in a stacking fashion. So making sure that you have this E up in the direction that they are looking to dash can be exceedingly punishing, because for some reason a lot of people still think it's okay, oh, I'm just gonna jump over things with these just because that's how the visual effect punishing mobile champions with your mines can be extremely effective. As well as doing something similar to this, you have a minefield set up maybe behind the enemy, and because you want to stop any further reinforcements, and then knocking them back